So occasionally, when I'm at an antique mall or flea market or something, I will find a cool old knife. And in front of me here is one of those knives that I found at a antique mall. I paid $5 for this, which I thought was a really good deal. That being said, I don't typically buy every like old knife that I see that is a good deal. It's typically knives that I'm more interested in, which are usually bigger knives and this one's really cool for a couple of different reasons. But this is a rope knife made by Schrade Cut Company, Schrade Cut Co., or Schrade Walden, I guess, is actually like the name they were using at that point. Schrade Cut Co. was earlier, I believe. But you can see there this tang stamp, Schrade Walden, New York, USA. And this is a rope knife. And the really cool thing about this being a rope knife is right here on the wooden handle, the Plymouth cordage division is stamped into the handle there. So this was a rope knife that I guess was issued or something to people who were cutting rope, is what it sounds like. So that's really cool. It doesn't look like this particular one was used all that much. But yeah, and the blade centering here is awful, just to prove that it wasn't something that, even really good knife companies really cared about back in the day. The blade centering's horrible. Of course, that may have happened over time as well. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so really cool knife there. And the funny thing about this is during the trip to the rendezvous last year in June, I found this knife at a antique mall. And originally I thought this was a pruner, and it might still be, but this is the exact same handle as far as I can tell. Except for this one might be slightly more rounded, I guess. So slightly more rounded handle, but very much the like same shape handle as the one I bought recently here. So I'm not sure if this is a pruner or not. It could just be a rope knife that's been sharpened in a really strange way. I'm not sure. The tang stamp on this one is, I think, pretty much the same. No, this one's a little different. This may be a different knife or an older knife, but it kind of seems like a pruner almost. I didn't really clean this one up at all yet. It's got this big old spot of corrosion here. It's not like red rust or whatever, but typically I like to clean stuff up a little bit. I don't like to clean it up like a whole lot because, then you lose the history and everything. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that these knives seem to be very similar, but I'm going to talk about this one. Really big knife. It's got a bail on it. You would tie your cordage around to fish it out of your pocket, probably, or attach like a little like lanyard or something to it to like clip it to your pants or your overalls or whatever, so that if it would fall out, you wouldn't lose it. But yeah, this is a rope knife, a knife completely designed for just cutting rope, press cut, pull cut. Somebody commented on one of my videos and said that, it was really more for like pull cutting, like one-handed pull cutting. I've never cut a whole lot of rope, so I don't know. But the cool thing about rope knives is they're very like, it almost looks like a sheep's foot, but then it's a very abrupt, like drop down to like the tip of the knife. And I use tip kind of weirdly here because this particular knife doesn't really have a tip. Now, when this was new, it might have had some sort of tip, but right now it's just rounded off pretty much. But I believe one of the reasons why, and some people have let me know some other reasons why rope knives have a blade like this. Number one, you're on a boat, you're on the ocean and everything, you might be swaying back and forth and stuff. If you're on a boat and it's moving around and like the the sea surge and everything, and the waves. If you're in like a storm or something, you're moving around a whole lot. You don't really want to be holding a knife with a really sharp point on it. You might accidentally hurt yourself or somebody else on the ship. And then somebody brought up another point, whereas if you're on like an inflatable like life raft type thing, you wouldn't want to have a point in that situation either, because you might accidentally puncture the life raft and then you're swimming again, which isn't ideal, obviously, when you're waiting to be rescued in some sort of situation like that. So the rope knife has some really cool, like, history and design history behind it. Um, and when I see a rope knife, like I said, I paid $5 for this knife, which I thought was a absolute bargain. But when I see a knife like this for a price like that, I have to pick it up. And rope knives, like I said, are a little more interesting to me than some other patterns. That being said, they're not a Barlow or something that I'm like really into. But occasionally I see a cool rope knife and I go ahead and pick it up. Um, this one being the Schrade Walden. I forget exactly when Schrade Walden was. I know it's like Schrade Cutco is like the first like tang stamp, and that was like the early 1900s, I believe. My guess would be this is post World War II. That would be my guess on this one. I don't know for sure. It does have steel liners, I think. So this might have even been produced during the war, but I don't think so. My guess would be post World War II, sometime. As for exact dates, I don't know. It could even be like, the 60s or 70s. I don't know. I'm not real good at dating this stuff. I should probably see if I could figure out when this tang stamp was made. But I don't know. I'm not really the like absolute historian when it comes to this stuff. I do think there's a model number there, it looks like. What's that say? 163? It says 163, so I don't know if that's a model number. Does this one have a model number on it? This one does not have a model number on it. Oh, no, it does. This is... Okay, hang on here. Because this is the 163, and this is the 136. So I don't think they're the same knife. I thought maybe they were. I think this one's older, if I had to guess, just judging from the like roundness of the handles. I would guess this one's older. But this very well might be a pruner. I didn't really know. Still a cool knife. Either way. But yeah, back to what we're talking about. I don't really know when this was produced. I just saw it sitting in a little glass case. And it wasn't even locked, so that's always a bonus. I always hate having to go get people to unlock the glass cases. It really stops me from looking at a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just opened it up, picked this up, looked at it, and said, "Yeah, $5, I'm buying that, absolutely." So yeah, cool rope knife with a lot of blades still left on it, which is always important to me because generally speaking, I don't buy knives that don't have some sort of blade left. Now, that being said, occasionally, if I see something really cool, like I do have a Barlow that has been through it, but it's really cool because the bolsters have an S stamped on them, and S is the first letter of my first name, so I thought that was really cool. But that Barlow pretty much doesn't have a blade. It has like part of a main blade left and no pen blade. But that knife was really cool, so I couldn't just not buy it, even though it was, pretty much unusable. If I wanted to, I could carry this in my pocket, and I might honestly carry it at some point a little bit. It's not going to be like a regular thing, obviously, because, I don't cut a whole lot of rope, but it is a neat knife. And certainly, adding it to like my vintage knife collection that I'm kind of have been gathering over the last few years here is the main point of why I bought it. Plus, I just thought it was really cool. And, you know, for a price like $5, I just couldn't not buy it. But yeah, that's it on this older Schrade Walden rope knife here. I just thought it was cool and figured I would share a video about it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.